It is August 15th already. Can you believe that? It's like this year is just flying by. First off, I want to thank Angie and her team, as always, doing such a great job of Pioneer Title. So thank you guys. I'm so sorry I'm not sending you a bunch of refis, but there aren't any right now. So I apologize, but we do thank you for everything else that you support us with. And then let's see, I've got my teams on the call. I've got, let's see, Sandy's on the call. I've got Christy on the call, and Nina. So thank you guys for all of your support in the team. If you haven't gotten to know my team and those like Heidi, Sandy, Christy, Nina, it's a great team. And I highly recommend that you spend some time talking to them because they're really amazing people as well.
Don't forget Capri.
Oh, Capri, is she on here? Yeah, Capri. She's my behind the scenes rock star. A lot of you don't talk to her, but she's the one that keeps us, and there's Clarissa's too. She's the one that keeps all of the glue on the loans once they get in. So Capri she's a rock star as well. All right, so let's just jump right in. I'm going to share my screen, and then
Sean, do you mind if I make a couple announcements real quick?
Oh, absolutely, Christy, go ahead.
Sorry, I just don't want you guys to forget that we have a few things coming up this week and next. So this Wednesday, I only have one spot available for a Botox happy hour. Don't laugh, it's a hit in Scottsdale just because everyone does Botox. So let me know if you want to attend. It's only $10 a unit, which is pretty darn cheap for Botox. And my lady is awesome. Also, we have Thursday at 11 a.m. an attorney's class at Pioneer Title at Pinnacle Peak office. If you're interested, reach out to Angie or I. We can give you more information on that. That's going to be a great class. This Friday, we have the Pinnacle Peak Luxury Home Tour. Don't forget about that one if you haven't been. Typically get there around 8:15. It's at the Greyhawk Country Club. And also, you can reach out to Angie or myself on that one again. We have Erin back in town on August 31st, and we have some open classes. If you have not attended Erin's coaching session, please just pop in, give it a shot. It's awesome, and we have some incredible people in that class that you could pull from. So we're looking forward to that first. He comes every 3 weeks. So we do have open classes for that available. And another thing I just want to mention, and we haven't started this yet, it looks like it's going to be starting in September, but we are going to be sponsoring, Pioneer Title and the Woolen Mortgage team are going to be sponsoring our own home tour. So if you guys have listings that you want to get out there and on a tour, let us know because we would love to have them. We are going to be doing a bus tour. It's going to be super great, and we're excited about it. So right now, it looks like we're going to start sometime in September, right at the end of September, but we could push that up a week or two. We'll let all of you know when that gets started. If you want any more information, again, that's Angie and I, so you can reach out anytime.
Thanks, Christy.
All right, Sean, you're good.
And I'll put some of that info in the chat too, Christy.
Oh, thank you, Angie.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, Sean, you're good.
All right, guys, lots going on. So here's a quick look at rates, just to kind of show you what's happening with the bond market. We have a convergence of a lot of the moving averages. So we've got we've got the 100-day moving average, we've got the 50-day moving average, the 25-day moving average, and 2 Fibonacci levels, all giving us a squeeze play right here. So let's see if I can zoom in here. See all of these, just anytime, excuse me, anytime you have these levels of resistance so tight, it's like a ping pong ball. Now, eventually there's going to be something that pushes us out of this squeeze here. Isn't it strange how it works like that? The bond market's just really nothing's going to happen until something big happens. So if we get something that could move the bonds downward, like some really good news in the markets, it'll push through negative. That would be a bad thing because there's a lot of room to move. And when it moves in open fields like this, rates move fast and they can get worse very quickly. As you can see down here, it moved below here and then just fell all the way to the bottom like a free fall. And it took a while to come back in. So we don't want that to happen. Luckily, we had this 25-day moving average that held us on this one. See how that held real quick? So guys, watching these charts, it makes it very easy for us on the Woolen Mortgage team to figure out when to lock our customers. So we're playing it easy right now, kind of because right now we're in this short squeeze. But if we see this break above here, we're going to float some more. because we could get rates getting a little bit better up to this next level. And then we'll probably watch it carefully there. So we're in a really good position there. Let me go ahead and jump into Mortgage News Daily. It's going to give you an idea where we are with mortgage rates. So in the fives, 5.33 is the wholesale rate. That's the average right now. And if you look at, let's see here. This is a really good website, guys, to give you an idea of what's happening. Lots of really good stories here. Lowest builder confidence since 2014, not a good thing because we need the inventory. But here's the average rates: 30-year 5.33, that's with a cost. 15 years 4.625. Most of these rates quoted, guys, do have points, so just want to make sure you know that. 5-year ARM 5.5, 30-year fixed on an FHA in the 4s, and VAs in the 4s as well. So we're in a good position for rates. Now that was a big spike. That was scary. I did not like it one bit. Neither did anyone in the industry. But that's where we are currently with interest rates. Any questions on where we are with interest rates currently? Speak up. There's someone in the chat. Ask the attorney was. Oh God, there's an attorney's class coming up. Okay, we can go over that. So I'm going to go ahead and view our slideshow now. So here's the current market update. We just went over that. And now the next on the list is, let's move this out of the way. What's happening in the markets. So this is what's happening this week. This could move the markets for good or bad. The New York Empire Manufacturing Index was actually at an all-time, not an all-time low. It was at a very low point. It was like -30 on their scale, which is not, it just means things are slowing down tremendously. The housing market index that came out this morning, it's coming up. So we've got housing starts, building permits, industrial production. That's going to show us kind of what's going on with housing as far as starting goes and permits, like what's going to be the future. New Zealand interest rate decision is 4 a.m. You might not wonder, well, like, why do other countries have an impact on us? Everyone buys our bonds. So if they make a decision to raise their interest rates, it could take money from them to us. And if they lower their interest rates, it could take money from us to them. So it's just really good to watch that. Retail sales are going to be coming out. Bond auction, that's always interesting. The Fed minutes at 11 a.m. on Wednesday is going to be a big mover. So that could really help us or hurt us. And then Thursday, we got jobless claims and then existing home sales. That's the big one this week, to figure out like what is happening with current sales. We all know it's slowing down, but what's the data? So Thursday is going to be a big day. Now, the topic of our conversation today is seller concessions. I've had a lot of really good phone calls on like how much we can ask for, because we've got seller buy downs. We've got people that want, the closing costs paid for. We want maybe just ask for a lower purchase price, but this is just specifically on seller concessions and how much you can get. And we're going to go over how much you can get for each loan product. So I'm going to go over that real quick. So this is conventional. Okay. Conventional is very different than everything else. When you're doing a principal residence or primary home or a second home, if you do less than 10% down, 10% or less down, the maximum is 3% of the purchase price can be given by the seller. If the buyer is putting 25%, between 10 and 25% down, or it's actually 24.99% down, the seller can give 6% of the purchase price towards buying the rate down or towards closing costs. If they do more than 25%, you can get up to 9%. Now, I've always thought, well, why don't they give people that have less money? Why don't they allow them to have more? Good question. I've always asked that, but because they need it more. But that's just kind of my question where I scratch my head and say, I think this should be reversed, but it is what it is. That's kind of the rule. Now, investment properties, it's only 2% regardless. So if you're buying an investment property, You're not going to be living in the property. It's going to be rented, not a second home, but a rented out property. The maximum is 2%. So if you have any investors that want seller buy downs, you can get that, but only 2% of the sales price can be used towards the seller buy down or towards buying closing costs. So this is really important for you guys to just maybe take a screenshot. I'll send you this as well. Obviously, this is recorded, but this is really good for you to know in the negotiations of the contracts as you move forward. You could always call me, but this is really good to have at your fingertips. Now, FHA is really easy, 6%, no matter what, 6%. So very simple, very straightforward. And then it gets smaller as we go. VA is only 4%. So we have conventional, 3, 6, 9, and 2%. It's kind of all over the board. The more you put down, FHA is 6%, and VA is 4%. Now, the only other loan program out there really is jumbo or non-QM. For the most part, and I say for the most part because all of jumbo lenders and jumbo wholesale loan options have different guidelines. Literally, it's a portfolio loan, so each institution has their own rules. But for the most part, they all follow the 3% max seller credit towards paying the rate down or closing costs. Now, a lot of questions that I've had coming up are, how can we apply it? So obviously you can apply it toward buying the rate down. You could pay all of the closing costs. So all prepaids, all closing costs. You can pay future HOA dues if the HOA allows it. You can pay for longer home warranties. There's a lot of things you can use to utilize the seller credits. Namely, now the rate buy down is the one that everyone's really focused on. So there's been a lot of questions on this. So I wanted to just go over that in a little bit more detail. I'll send you everyone an email on it as well. But I wanted to open it up to questions on seller credits, how they can be used. A lot of things that are happening on seller credits is maybe there's too much and you don't know how to use it. We can use that in a number of different ways. We could use it to buy the rate down, or we can just do an addendum and ask the sellers to say, in lieu of $1,500 that we can't use in seller credits, we want to reduce the purchase price, stuff like that. Any questions on seller credits? Do we just put that in a contract as seller concessions, or does that lender require specific wording? Just towards closing costs is all you need to do. So anytime you're asking for closing costs, do not mention that you're using it for anything to do with fixing the property at all. Do not do that because we're going to say, okay, what's wrong? Whatever that is, that's wrong, needs to be fixed prior to closing. So if it's going to be used towards repairs, most of us understand that you can just say closing costs and it'll be used towards repairs, but we don't want it to say that. We want to say just towards closing costs. Now, if there's $15,000 worth of seller's concessions for fixing the problem, like maybe a roof, and there's not $15,000 worth of closing costs, that's when we need to get really a little bit more creative. So you can use maybe $7,500 towards paying all the closing costs, maybe buy the rate down, or do a combination of lowering the purchase price and paying all the closing costs. Was talking about rate buy down. Oh, nope, you just need to say it's for closing costs, because the points associated with the loan are part of the closing costs. So you don't have to say anything specific, just closing costs. That covers everything. A good question. Sorry, I didn't understand that. Any other questions regarding seller credits? All right, so you guys are all experts. So on Sunday evening at 9 p.m., I'm not going to get calls on how much FHA allows, right? I'm just kidding. You can always do that. And it happens more frequently than you think. Because what happens on weekends is contracts happen on weekends, and I am always available. All right. don't be shy, guys. If you have any questions on anything else mortgage related, I'm here as well. Anything out there? Anything out there? Any questions that you guys have on anything mortgage related? Any issues you're seeing out there or things that you don't know how to overcome? That's what I am here for. All right. I think everyone needs a little espresso shot, maybe.
I had a quick question.
Yes, Emma.
I had a couple of agents that had talked about appraisals being like taking a little bit longer than usual. And again, this is not anybody that was working with your team, but I just wondered if you'd seen it on your side of things, appraisals taking a little bit longer than usual.
I haven't seen that at all. In fact, it's a little surprising because we're so slow and there's no refinance happening. I haven't heard that at all. So no.
Okay, cool. So maybe it's just specific to their cases.
Maybe. And you know what? Every lender has a different type of appraisal management setup. We have some pretty good people that really kind of cater to our needs as far as timing goes. So I haven't really seen that. But if I do see anything out there or if I have anything, let me know. Luckily, we've got just a really great team behind us that gets them out pretty quickly. And if we need a rush, we can a lot of times get it done pretty quickly without paying for it, which is nice. Good question. It's kind of slow out there, so we need to stay positive. And there's a lot of really, really bad information out there. There was this one multimillionaire who claims to be the most smartest investor in the world that went out on social media the last couple weeks saying it's foolish to ever own a home. He put out all these numbers to how it makes sense to never buy. And he didn't take into account how much it costed him to rent over the 5-year period he did it. He's all, after you pay the interest, after you pay for all your insurance, all of this, you only net like $50,000 over a 5-year period. And after you sell, but he didn't take into consideration, well, you need a home to live in and what's the rent's going to be over 5 years. And so there's a lot of bad math that's happening out there. And that's where a lot of these people are getting like Debbie Downers out there, or they're really against the markets. Home ownership always makes sense compared to renting, especially the way rents are right now. If you're going to be living in it more than 2 years. Now, if you're going to be buying a house for 1 year and then selling it, that might make sense. That might not make sense. I would say rent in that circumstance. But we've got the rent versus buy calculators. Happy to get those to you. Really what you need in your listing presentation is a rent versus buy example over like a 5-year period based on like the average for your farm area. The cost of waiting calculator, even a bid over ask, which I know Vicky, is she on here? Yeah, she's on here. She loves that program and she's had a lot of success with getting things under or getting people to make offers because of that. I don't know if you want to say any testimonials, Vicky, but you use it more than probably most. We have all of these things at your fingertips. I think she's maybe on the phone or something, but we have a lot of great tools to help you overcome the fears with real scenarios, with real good math. And numbers really don't lie if you do it right. And barking puppy, she's obnoxious. You got it, Vicky. So any other further questions, guys?
Real quick, Sean, you mentioned how it would look on the contract as just a seller or a credit at close. But do you have the conversation with the agent that would be your intent is to use it for an interest buy down?
Yes, and that's where we have to have really good communication before you write the offer to see kind of what is needed, what those payments would look like. I can present it to both you and your buyers so you know exactly what that looks like so you can ask for the proper amount. Don't just try to wing it and hope that asking for the max will work, because you may not need that to really get to the payment comfort level that the buyer needs when you're doing a buy down. So this, just communicate really well with me and my team on the loan that you have on the customer, so that we know exactly to the dollar what we can ask for. Hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, that's definitely we definitely need to communicate on that.
Sean,
All right.
I sent everyone, sorry, Sean, I sent everyone those example tools that you sent me. If you're
Oh,
on this
perfect.
call, I noticed a few people that are new on this call and you didn't get those from me. Just let me know, send me an email or just a text or whatever. Let me know you didn't get them and I'll send them over. Because we have an example of all of those that Sean mentioned, the rent versus buy, cost of waiting, bid over ask, and the seller buy down. So if you need those and just want to stick them in your presentations or whatever, let me know and I'll send them over.
Yeah, and if you want to just in the chat, just say yes
Yes.
in the chat, and yeah, and we'll get those to you. So if you want all of those examples, if you don't have them, just put yes in the chat as well, and we'll get those over to you, because it does make a big difference, especially if you're in the middle of a listing presentation. People are like, well, I think we're going to wait 6 months. And you're like, well, and you don't know really what to say at that point. You can now say, you know what, I've got an example of what that would look like, just to help you prepare to make it the best decision possible. If you waited 6 months and you rented at $5,000 a month, it would actually cost you $26,000, and plus the rate of appreciation, let's just say it's 1.5% for that 6 months, plus you miss out on that, plus the amortization you pay yourself. I mean, it makes it make sense to people so that they can make a real sound decision. If they're not in a good space mentally, which a lot of people are right now, as far as like they don't know what to do, they're just confused and they just want to, they don't care about losing money. They just need to kind of figure things out. Obviously that's a different conversation, but if you present the math before them, it really will help them make a really good sound decision. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Yeah, we'll get that over to you right away. And if you want anything customized, it doesn't take us long, maybe 5 to 15 minutes max, to get you something that you need specifically towards either a listing that appointment you're going on, or a buyer that you're going to be taking out and meeting, whatever it is. Just shoot us a quick call, an email, and we'll get that over to you. All right, so rates are kind of flat. We'll see what the housing numbers come out on Thursday. That's going to be really, really interesting. We'll get after it this week, guys. If you made my class this last Friday in the middle of that, or right before that massive storm hit Scottsdale, that was insane. We're going to be doing a part 2 of that class, and I'm going to do it via Zoom. So I'm going to go over the same stuff, really. So if you weren't able to make that, we talked about how to recession-proof your business. And for those of you that made it, thank you. I think it was a great class. A lot of people got a lot out of it. And it really is some good materials to really help you rethink the next steps as we build during a slower market. So we're going to be putting that on the calendar. It's going to be a Zoom call, and it'll be great. So thank you guys for everything. And Angie, any other announcements? Christy, any other announcements before we go?
No, I think we covered them at the beginning, Sean.
Perfect.
We're good.
We're good.
All right, everyone. Thank you for everything. Happy Monday. Have a great week, and we'll circle back next week, and I'll talk to you in midweek if you need it. Have a great time, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
See you guys.